Welcome back, everyone, to Motorsport Manager. Now, this is a game that, for those of you who've been around for a while, know we have done quite a bit with this game in the past. We've had long-running series for sure with this game, and we've played, up to this point, a lot of the DLC that has come out. However, there was a DLC that came out back in November that I didn't get a chance to play, and that's the Endurance Racing DLC. So I went ahead and purchased that recently because I've been looking for an opportunity to get back into the game and start playing it, but I just simply haven't had time. So now is the opportunity, and we're going to start this series on the channel. And as far as how long this series will go, that'll be up to you guys. We'll get this thing started and do a few videos, and if you guys enjoy it, we'll keep going. If not, I'll simply play it offline. But endurance racing is going to change some things that we've seen in the past. As I mentioned, we've done the open wheel car, the Formula One type cars. We've done the GT series, but we haven't done the endurance racing. And what this does is it introduces another new car model, which is the prototype vehicles, and it introduces mixed class racing. So what that means is we're going to have multiple classes of cars on the track at the same time. And our goal is going to be to start off in the slower division and work our way up through winning races and championships and so on, and move up to the faster division until ultimately we can win races and championships there. So along the way, we're going to do some of the same things that we've done in the past, which is to build up our headquarters, building new buildings, test tracks, and so on. But then also we have the added element of having multiple drivers per car. So we're going to be doing driver swaps during the races. We're going to have 3 drivers per car, and our goal is going to be to get the best drivers we can and to effectively swap them out during the races with strategy in order to bring home the best finish we can. So I'm really excited about getting this started. So let's go ahead and we'll start a new career. Everything is fresh. No mods are being used for this game. You can see here I don't have any mods that I'm subscribed to. In fact, most of the mods that I even looked at were broken since the most recent update to the game, so a lot of that is sort of a moot point anyway. We're going to be doing, of course, the endurance format. We're going to be doing 3-hour-long races, and it says tutorial. The tutorial is not available for the endurance series. You need to use one of the base series for that, and everything else looks good here under game options. Let's see. Let's go ahead and I'll put my name in there. Date of birth won't matter. Let's go ahead and do North America, and we're going to be from the US. And for the purposes of this, I'm going to scroll through all of these, and I'm going to go unknown. So we're not going to have any bonuses whatsoever. Also, I don't care a whole lot about much of this. Let's see. Let's go ahead with give me a full head of hair and get rid of the facial hair, or at least down to the stubble, which is basically how it is most of the time these days. All right, that looks good enough for me. Do we want to choose a team or create a team? Of course, we want to create our own team. And now we get to choose which series, and I'm going to choose Endurance. Okay, we can start out in Tier 1 or Tier 2. Now, Tier 1 is going to be, you can see under Part Manufacturing, no restrictions. You're going to make all your own parts, and you can make them as good as possible. However, when we start in the slower division, we're going to have spec parts, spec front wings, rear wings, and engines. So that's going to mean that driver performance is going to be that much more important for us. So we're going to start out in Tier 2. All right, and let's see. Main text of our logo is going to be knee pit, and then racing on the second line. And once again, we're going to be from North America, but that's actually going to come back to haunt us a little bit, I believe, in some of the traveling costs, but that's okay. That's just part of the fun of the game. Let's pick the style of logo. I've used this in the past. I want to use this one now. Kind of like that design. We're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to go blue and red for our main colors. So let's swap this out once again. Blue and red for our secondary colors. Really wish I could stop this thing from moving while I'm trying to select this. We're going to go, all right, I like that style. That's good enough. And all right, so here's our paint scheme. Let's go ahead and get our colors swapped out. to begin with, we're going to choose white, and then our trim color will be black. Let's go with that. And then sponsor, I'll leave these alone. That should be okay, relatively speaking. Let's see what we want to use for a paint scheme. Those of you who've been with me in the past in this game know I don't care a whole lot about the paint scheme, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. We'll pick one that hopefully will stand out on the track to us, and that'll be about all we'll worry about there. Let's see. Okay, that's not terrible. All right, let's go with this one. Okay, so I think we've got everything designed here. Let's go ahead and, yes, I am done editing my team. Now we need to start off with our investment offer. Somebody has to fund our team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off at the very bottom. We're going to start out with a minimal amount of money, and we'll take it from there. That'll keep the pressure off of us because there's a lot I need to learn about this. Like I said, I just purchased this yesterday. So I haven't had a whole lot of time with this. I've run, I think, 2 races in there, just to a couple of quick races just to get the idea of sort of what the controls were and what was going on. So I've still got a lot to learn. So we're going to start off at the bottom and try to see what we've got. So as you might expect, brand new team. We are at the bottom of everything except for, it looks like, pit crew. We're about mid-range on the pit crew, but still not up to average. So it looks like some of the top guys have quite a bit better than us. All right, that's what we would expect here. Let's get into our mail first. And let's see, start us something great. All right, this is the guy that's going to be looking out for us and fire us if we don't get the job done correctly. And, okay, it's an immense pleasure. Okay, so she's going to be my assistant helping me out. I like the hairdo there. It's all right, what is our target? So there, you could see there are 6 teams. There will be 24 cars on the track, but that, of course, is 2 different divisions. So 12 in each division. So there are 6 teams, 2 cars each. So we're going to say that we're going to finish last. So that's going to give us 10.4 million to start off with. That won't last all that long, though. Our scouting report says that our drivers are awful, our designer is awful, our mechanics are awful. So great, we are in amazing shape so far. So obviously you expect that as well. Our introduction to the endurance series, we've already started talking about some of that. So we got multiple series. There's an A and a B. We're currently in B, and we'll run the same events at the same time. So there are no blue flags. So if the slower cars are in the way, the faster cars just have to deal with it as far as between A and B. And we have driving time requirements. Let's see. For a driver to be eligible to gain points, they must drive for at least 10% of the race. Okay, got it. And it says there is a legal driving limit of 40%. Okay, we'll have to, during the race, it actually gives us the time limit for the drivers when they're in the car. So we'll keep an eye on that rather than having to worry too much about percentages. Qualifying, we'll have to have 2 drivers qualify. Each of them will have to run laps, and then they'll average the lap time for that. Long pit stops. And what this means for us is that everything adds together, so pit stops will take longer, meaning that once you're done changing the tires, then you can put fuel in it, and then you can do driver changes and all sorts of things like that. So everything means that pit changes take longer. All right, so we got 3 drivers per car. Okay, I think we got it. Let's go ahead and click on that. Introduction to our pit crew. We'll have, each crew member has 5 stats for the different possible tasks, and we can move these guys around, and we definitely will want to do that. And then they also have stamina. So these guys will get tired as well, and we'll have to swap them out throughout the year as they get tired and let them get some rest. So it's going to be a lot of swapping around between pit crew and drivers. So, all right, recovery. Okay, got it. I think we're ready to go there. Let's move over to our pit crew to get our first glimpse at those guys. And you can see we've got some slots empty, and it looks like they've already got 4 people ready to fill those if we so desire. But first, let's take a quick look at what everybody does. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. They've got 4 tire changers, and then we got a jack man in the back, jack man in the front. Okay, so we can move these guys around, And as I look around, we want to make sure that the top refueling guys are in the back because that's where the refueling is done. Looks like they're already there. And let's see, what do we got? Front jack. We've got, well, one of our tire changers is a 7 on the front jack, as opposed to, our front and rear jacks are not that good. 4 and 2. That's not wonderful, but one of our guys here is, let's see, rear jack is at a 9. That's pretty awesome. Front jack is at a 6. Also notice we've got a 6 here. Okay, we're going to keep things simple. I think for now, I'm going to put this guy at the rear jack position, which is going to be Cummings. There we go. So let's swap that out. So right now you can see our average pit stop time would be 82.37 seconds. And then it gives you a breakdown of how much of that is refueling, tires, the jacks, and the driver change. So the jack really doesn't take all that much time. So that's not something we're going to worry a whole lot about. So not a lot of time to be gained there. But since we do have these two guys that are available, we're going to get rid of this front jack and put somebody in there. Let's see. The front tire changers also do fixes on the car. So wanted to keep that in mind. But right now I think we're in good shape. We're going to swap out front jack. We're going to go ahead and swap out these two guys. That'll get us a little bit better. You can see up here it sped up the time. It gave us a little bit lower pit stop time. But again, we're not going to worry a whole lot about that because we got lots of stuff to do and not a whole lot of money to get it done with. All right, let's see what we have. So we have mistake chance here. 0.3% is not much of a mistake chance. Like, that's not much at all. That's less than 1 out of every 100 change. Then you got some that are 0. I really like that. So let's see. We got the jack. What I'm really interested in here would be, if anything, the tires. Let's see. 5 and 5. That's not bad. All right, but for right now, I think we're okay. I don't think I'm going to hire anybody just yet. But during the season, hopefully we can get some access to some new pit crew potential members, and we can swap those guys out as time allows. Okay, let's next go in and take a look at our drivers. And you can see our drivers, not too bad. This arrow designates the average drivers on the grid, and so we're okay there, it looks like. Of course, car 1 has a little bit better drivers than car 2, as I would imagine would be pretty normal. And here's our first opportunity to look at the stamina. You can see 97, 71, 84, looks like 67 over here. So we're going to want the maximum amount of stamina, I would imagine, under all conditions. And then we've got this purple section rather, and that is when they get in a groove. They run better and are more focused when they're here. So that's going to be a section of time that you'll want to optimize as much as you can. Looks like for the most part we're in pretty good shape. I like this 97, but then the red down here at the bottom, this is when we're going to want to swap them out and make sure we get them out of the car before they get, or right as they get to this red, because then they go a lot slower and have a much higher chance of making mistakes once they get into the red. And you can see down here, this red area is much larger than the one above. So I don't like that one at all. Of course, overall our drivers are, they're definitely not 4 and 5 star drivers right now. That's for sure. So we're going to be wanting to get some new drivers as soon as we can, which means we're going to get done with some scouting. And okay, but overall, looks like we're in pretty good shape. Let's take a look at what some of these drivers are capable of. All right, I'm not seeing a whole lot that I really like about this, which is about what you would expect. 374,000 per race. That seems okay. Yeah, that seems high. 207 here. 86,000. Wow. Okay. So our third driver isn't getting paid very much. 265, 102, and then 91. Okay, so we'll be wanting to swap these drivers out, and the idea being that we can bring in a new top driver and then move the others down and release the third driver, which would be the weakest on each team. So we'll be trying to do that. In fact, let's see, what kind of staff do we have? Okay, yeah, we've got the $1,000 per race staff right now, which is pretty much what you would expect. These are going to be bottom tier and nothing that we're going to want to keep for very long. So we'll just try to ration our money as best we can. Let's go ahead and get into some scouting. We got 3 spots available until we upgrade our scouting facility. And then we can get more scouting available. And it also gives us access to more drivers. Not just more scouting at one time, but also different drivers that we have access to. All right, let's go ahead. Let's do these by team. And then what I really want to do is find the free agents, which should be at the bottom. Somewhere. There we go. So let's go ahead and start scouting drivers. And we'll see how this works out. Let's see. 35 years old, don't want that one particularly. And 31's not terrible. 20. Let's go ahead and just queue up all of these, and we'll just keep going with these until they're done. And then somewhere along the way, we will actually build a scouting facility. Okay, so that'll take care of that. Designer. Let's see who is available as far as designers. Okay, so the free agent should be at the bottom. Yes. Okay. Let's see what we've got. I see 3 here that could be potentially pretty good. Let's see. Houston Woods. All right, so we know we've got some spec parts. So engines we're not worried about right now. Gearbox and brakes would be something I'd be interested in, particularly the gearbox. And also suspension. So we've got 9, 10, and 6 in those different areas. Let's see. Oh, wow, 12, 11, and 6. Okay, I like this one. That's pretty good there. Not so much here. 8, 11, and 12. Okay, not bad. Not bad at all. Let's just sort of run up through some of these. So far, Scarlet is looking pretty good. In these, yeah, not too bad. As far as an overall score. So, yeah, not bad at all. Okay, I like that. I like that. Scarlet will be fine. She's got her lowest in the engine, which is perfectly fine because we're not going to be worried about that. Let's go ahead and approach her. Let's see. All right, she is interested. That's good for us. All right, how much per race? What's the max? Okay, 48,000 per race. Okay, not bad. Because we're going to start out losing money at the beginning of the season. We already know that. But we've got to try building something because the idea here is our first season is going to be a learning experience. We're going to try to get some better people in place and some better equipment so that next year we can start out in a position where we can do a lot better. Okay, wages are fairly important. She is not. All right, let's go 38,000. I have no idea what we're going to have to do in order to get her. A long-term contract, not sure about that. Let's try to get her on a 2-year deal. And she'd like a nice sign-on fee, okay. Now, we notice her patience over here. She's only got 1. So we're going to have to get really close this first time. We can't, if she had, 3 or 4 boxes here, we could afford to maybe try to lowball her or something like that on some of these. But I'm going to have to do pretty good with this. Let's see what the max is here. Okay, 150 is the max. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. Let's go 105. And these two aren't very important. I'm going to try to get by without those at all. So 38,000 per race isn't all that much. So let's see what we can do. Okay, so that's been sent to her. We've already been looking at the drivers, scouting them out. Let's see about our finances. Right now, we're going to request additional funds. Cost per race, we're going to be losing about $2 million per race. And that's because we don't have any sponsors yet. And if you look, not only do we not have any sponsors in place, we don't have any offers right now. So that's going to be an issue at the beginning. But we'll get sponsorship offers as time moves on, and hopefully we won't be losing $2 million per race for very long. All right, so now let's come to our car. I'm not ready to design any parts because we don't want to do that with our existing staff, but I do want to improve parts. All right, so we're not going to worry too much about performance right here, but what I am interested in is reliability. Okay, so the spec parts immediately have 80%. That's good. But then these others, let's see, we got 66, 78. Okay, not bad. Let's go ahead and start out with the suspension. We've got 2 slots available. Let's go ahead and allocate all of our staff to that. And, all right, I like that. The biggest problem I'm going to have is remembering to allocate my staff properly. I'm bad about forgetting that. Okay, I think we're in good shape now. Let's go ahead and move the calendar forward. You can see we got a contract proposal that we're going to get an answer back on very soon. Contract offer accepted. I like it. So let's go to our mailbox. I don't care about these. I actually wish I could get rid of these. Contract offer accepted. Excellent. I like that quite a bit. So let's go to the staff. Let's go ahead and sign this contract offer. Sign that, and of course that means we only have 1 engineer, so we're going to replace her. It's going to cost us $105,000 to get that done. That was our sign-on bonus. All right, do we have any bonuses? All right, minus 2 days for each million spent. Okay, that's probably not going to be all that effective for us right now. Performance on wet tires and inters. Okay, that's not terrible. No condition loss on the first race. Okay, so those are not great. All right, there we go. Let's get rid of, I always like to keep the mail part taken care of. Let's go back into our car right now, and let's see what kind of parts we have available that we can start designing. All right, our brakes are the cheapest that we can do. They're also the quickest to design. So let's go ahead. Now it says that the next race, these will be crucial. That's not going to be important to us because we're not going to have time to get all this done. But I just basically want to see. Now we're going to stay away from these red marks because that means that we could possibly, these are illegal parts. We don't want to use those. Okay, tire wear efficiency improved. Now what exactly does that mean? Like there's no percentage or anything, so I don't know what to take of that. All right, I like that. I mean, that's a good deal, particularly since we'll be doing hopefully some longer runs. That's nice. But for now, I think I'm just going to try to do deceleration. Let's see, stay away from this part. And then, let's see, 40 to the max. Don't like that one. Plus 40. I do like that one. So when we get to this part, this is the one I'm going to want. That's our big jump. Generally, the first part that you create is just to get it out of the way. It's generally not all that useful, but then you hopefully have your second and third parts will be a lot better off. Okay. So let's go ahead and build that one. It's going to take a little bit of our money. Okay, so that'll be done in basically 9 days. But again, this is a process. We're thinking more about the end of this year and the beginning of next year rather than focusing on right now. Okay, so we're good there. We're already working on improving our parts. We're putting all our work in on reliability. Okay, so we're good there. And let's see, what else? We need to look at the HQ right quick. Because let's take a look at, first, what buildings can we upgrade? Well, we could upgrade our design center and our factory. The factory would be the first of those two I would want to upgrade because it gives us access to unlocking the telemetry center, test track, and so on that you see there. So that's going to be good, but that costs $8 million, and we're in no financial shape to be doing that right now. Okay, as far as new buildings, the scouting facility, $2.2 million. So, and it takes 12 weeks to build. I like that because it unlocks the hidden drivers, which should be better than the ones we already have access to. So I like that. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and build this one. It's only 2.2 million, and I like having access to those hidden drivers, or at least part of them. Okay, let's go ahead and move forward. Our scouting department is doing great. They're along the way. Let's see, we've got an interview request. We definitely want to do this. Let's see what you got for us. All right, so it isn't the best team in the B class. What's your plan? Well, let's see what we've got. Let's see, we might not be one of the big boys, but I can promise you we're going to work the hardest. Okay, I like that. Aiming to plant a solid foundation. Okay, that one's not bad either. We need to survive and then kick on. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go with the top one. And you can see we got a little bit of a bonus to morale for everyone for that one. We need to keep morale doing pretty good. All right, let's see what the second question is. So hopefully you've made a start getting to know the drivers. What's going to be your plan? And of course, our plan is to get rid of them. So what do I want to say? I think I want to go right here. I'm happy with what I've seen so far. Yeah, let's go with that one. That'll give us another boost. And then question 3 is, I wrote that you, in a preview, I wrote that you'd be expected to finish 6th or last. Is that accurate? All right, we'll do better than that. That could actually backfire and put pressure and lower morale on the drivers. All right, let's go here. I'm hoping to surprise you. Okay, that gave us nothing, which is perfectly fine with me. And then our final question is, you're an outsider when it comes to motorsport. That's because we didn't pick a background at the beginning. And how do you end up with the job? Let's see. I like this last one. I have no idea, to be honest. The chairman must be off his rocker. Gotta love that. Wow, I don't like any of these answers. A lot of luck but I intend to make the most of this chance. Met the chairman at an event, and we got to talking. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go with the top one. Wow. I don't like any of those. So did it do anything? No. Doesn't look like anybody gained or lost any morale, which is perfectly fine with me. All right, so I think we're good to go there. Let's see, our scouting, what do we got? So 37 days, 16 days. Okay, we got a long time on some of these before we start to get new drivers. Okay, there's our new brakes being finished. So we are going to have a new brake package before the first race. We'll have to see if they're usable, though. Okay, upcoming race report. We're not going to worry too much about that. We're just going to play it by ear. Part of the fun that I have with this game is not overthinking it and not really trying to prepare too much, just taking things as they come. All right, so our new brakes are going to have performance of 23 out of 47, so we've got room for improvement, and reliability is at 50%. All right, so I'd like to be able to use these parts if we could. So let's see, we're at 90% and 89. Okay, I like that. That's really good for our suspension. Now I want to come into our brakes. And look at how much better this is. 23 versus 1 and 2. Wow. Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead and put all of our allocation on this one part. Let's see, do we want to improve? No, I think we can use the 78% right now for the first race. I mean, there's not much difference between 1 and 2 in performance, so I like that. Okay, we'll go ahead and try to improve this as well, but right now what I care about is seeing if we can get this up to an acceptable level for the first race. But now it means that we are available to work on a new part, and we're going to work on brakes. Now this time you can see we have 2 slots. And unfortunately, that's as high as we're going to be able to go until we unlock some buildings. But that's perfectly fine because what I want is right here, the plus 40 and minus 20 on reliability. We can deal with that because we can fix that. So that's perfectly okay. And then we can go tire efficiency and tire wear improved. I don't know, that intrigues me, but I'm just not sure what to make of that. But I think it's worth enough to get us better than that plus 10 would get us. So we're going to take a chance. We're going to do this one. I kind of like it. This will get us up to 53 out of 77. So we're perfectly fine there. We got plenty of room there. And of course, we can work on reliability. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so once again, we do not have any sponsors. We've not received any word that anybody's interested in us. All right, let's see what we got on improving our parts. How much do we get? Well, we got up to 57, so not all that much. So we're not going to be able to use this part in this particular race. That's not near high enough. We'd have to, with this being an endurance series, we'd have to spend all of our time trying to actually get repairs done to that. So we don't want that. But let's see, 66% isn't all that much better. But we're going to try to take it easy this first race, and hopefully, wow, 66, 57. All right, yeah, we'll go with the 66. I really want to go with that better part, but a big part of me, I don't know. We'll have to decide here in a moment. I can't decide right now. But the time has come. We are about to have to decide that. All right, so I auto-picked our tires. Let's see what it's got for us. So we've got soft tires, 6 sets, 3 sets of the medium, 6 sets of the hard. Well, the interesting thing is, of course, the soft tires are going to have the most grip, but they're not going to last very long. The hard tires are going to last the longest, but they don't have very much grip. So we have to decide how we want to run this. And what I'm more inclined to do realistically is this on both, because I'm thinking the harder tire will be better for us overall. What I don't know is how the stamina is going to work for the drivers. How long can they last? We'll just have to find that out. Okay, so on the cars, let's go ahead and, man, oh man, I want to use these new brakes so badly. So badly. But I feel like that could be a bad deal for us. But hey, let's go ahead and do it. Let's live on the edge. If we have to spend a whole bunch of extra time in the pits, then we'll just spend a whole bunch of extra time in the pits. But I tell you what I might want to do, let's do it this way. Let's put it on the second car. And the reason for that is we have a little bit better drivers on our first car. And so we'll test it out on the second car and see how that goes. Everything else should be perfectly fine and really no difference very much. You can see a little bit of difference here reliability wise. So the lower reliability is going to be on car number 2. So at least we're giving ourselves one option for a car that will give us the best opportunity to move forward. Okay, I think that's where I want to be. And all right, so this first video is going to be quite a bit longer than subsequent videos because we had to spend a whole lot of time getting everything going. But now we're going to head to our first race. All right, for the purposes of our first video here in the series, I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the practice and qualifying stuff, not the actual sessions themselves to save time, but I do want to show you here at the beginning the setup preferences. Let's go ahead and change this. So for car number 1, you can see these lines for each of the driver. This is a pretty wide line there, and then a very short line over here in purple for Sabrina. So what we do is we're going to slide this back and forth, and this will favor the car's setup toward one or more of these drivers, and it'll show you how much time they'll pick up by doing so. So if we leave it here in the middle, then the drivers on the edges will not receive any benefit, but a half second faster will be Rico. So if we move over, let's see. So now we start to get a benefit. That would give us a total of 0.6 of a second faster. And the closer we get, that evens it out some. Okay, 4 and 2. Let's do 3 and 3 there. And down here, our number 1 driver, let's go ahead and see if we can do something similar. There we go, 3 and 3. I like that. So our third drivers aren't going to get any benefit, but hopefully they're going to spend the least amount of time in the car. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply that. And our car setup. So this is where practice comes into play. And we can decide what tires we want to practice on because we'll get bonuses that are active knowledge, they call it, that we can receive. So I'll take care of all that. We'll go through practice. And then I'll come back and show you how all that works out whenever we get ready for qualifying. All right, practice and qualifying are done. I didn't show any of those two sessions, again, just for the purposes of time. This first episode in the series, because I wanted to show a lot of how we get started in the series, is going to be much longer than a normal episode. But now we're ready for the race. So let's get everything set up for the race. We qualified at the back of the field, exactly as you would imagine that we would. So let's go ahead and pick up our knowledge bonuses. These are the bonuses that we picked up during the during the practice session, and this gives you an idea of what I spent the time on during practice. First and foremost, I wanted race trim bonuses, so we got a level 3, meaning that we spent the most time on that. And then let's go ahead and take the medium tire bonus as well, and we're going to do the same thing for our second car. Okay, car setups went pretty good. I mean, not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but not too bad there. Really good setup here on car 1 and a fairly good setup on car 2. So then we go to driver strategy, and this is something I really have no idea about. So we're going to use this first race at least as a test session, and I'm going to leave everything as is, because I don't want to have to do any more repairs than we're already going to have to do. So let's see what happens if I don't change anything, as opposed to going, to push or attack, or even on the engine mode using a lot of fuel. My guess is that our performance is going to keep us at the back. So let's see what we can do as far as learning from here. So let's go ahead and let's see. Everything I believe is done. No need to look at those others. So let's go ahead and get the race started. All right, so the race is about ready to begin, and we have a rolling start here. So that'll give me a chance to get my camera where I want it. And we're going to have to see how this works out. I'm going to try to keep it in 3D mode a little bit, but then I'm planning on swapping over to the 2D mode, because we're going to be using the time multiplier of 12, which can make these things go really fast and can make some people sick on the 3D mode. So we'll see how that goes over time. But we've got our standings here on the top left-hand corner, and again, you can see we're starting at the back. And then at the bottom of the screen on the left-hand side is car 1, and then car 2 on the right-hand side. The time remaining in the race, which right now is 3 hours. That's why we're going to be using the huge multiplier. And then as time goes on, we'll see various other things that will pop up just above our driver. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. So again, we'll start out here in 3D mode, and then probably move it over to the 2D mode once things get going. You can see we are moving really fast. All right, and now we have our stamina. So we have 99 and 89 for our two drivers, and that will steadily decrease over the length of the run. What I don't know is how long that's going to last, what the length of a run is going to be for us. So lots of things to learn as we go forward. Of course, we're not going to be able to learn everything in one race. Okay, already you can see in the top right hand corner on the mini map, the two different classes are immediately noticeable as they separate. The difference in speed is very noticeable there. Of course, we're running at the back of the pack, quite a bit slower than the other cars. But again, this is all about learning. We don't have the speed to keep up right now. And we're going to try to minimize our time in the pits as much as we can. So we have 40 laps worth of fuel, which is way too much. But again, I want to see what we can do with these tires. How long will they last? Okay, well, there we go. We got our first driver in the fired up purple circle. So they're going to be driving a good bit better. Now we can see the A class, the faster cars that are working their way through us. Okay, so far so good. We're down to 71 and 81 respectively on the stamina, so not bad. Again, we want to get these drivers out before they reach the red section, and we can also hover over the stamina section, and that will give us an opportunity to see what our other drivers are as far as stamina, because they'll recover stamina once they get out of the car in between stints. So far so good. I mean, we'll try to make up whatever positions we can, but I don't know how much we're going to be able to do. The main thing is I'm going to try to keep track of the weather, and that's something, again, if you were with me in our first series in Motorsport Manager, you know that I have a hard time remembering to look at the weather. Okay, so far so good. Keeping a check on the tire wear. We're at 35, 34% over here, so a lot worse tire wear. And we're going to have to come in here pretty shortly. So we didn't get very far at all into this run. Okay, worn tires. It automatically slows down the game for that. And I can dictate whether or not that actually happens in the options. Okay, so now it is time for our first pit stop. Well before we ran out of stamina. But in this case, we ran out of tires and we had way too much fuel on board. Okay, so let's take a look at our tire choices. So if we stay on the soft tires, you can see a brand new set would give us an estimated 26 to 28 laps, or roughly 30 minutes. So 26 to 28 laps if we choose to go that route. If we go medium tires, we could go 40 to 42. Of course, they'll be a little bit slower, being more durable. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead. Let's see what drivers we have available. Okay, 71 is not exactly what we want to go with on that for a long run, because I don't think we're going to be able to make a long run with him. So let's go ahead and swap out drivers and stay on the soft tire. 26 to 28 laps. We're going to match up our fuel. There we go. It's already right there, so we don't need to add any fuel. That'll save us some time. Part conditions should be fine, or at least as fine as we can get it. We're going to leave balanced on the strategy to minimize the risk of something going wrong. And you can see estimated pit stop time 37 seconds. So the lack of having to put in any fuel should help. All right, here comes our first driver in. Quick check on the weather. Still nothing out there for now. Okay, 30%, 29%, and so on. Oh, I forgot to swap out the drivers. I forgot to change that. All right, no big deal. That shouldn't be too much of an issue because you can see we still have plenty of stamina left. Now we'll focus our attention back over to our second car. And this time I am going to remember to swap out drivers. So 79, we'll see how long that lasts. Once again, no weather appears to be in the immediate vicinity, or at least as far as we can see right now. All right, 26 to 28 laps. Fuel should be pretty close to that. Yes, in fact it is. Let's go ahead and put about that in it. Again, we're not pushing. We need to fix that part, but not quite yet. Okay, everything else looks good. We'll bring them in for a pit stop, and we'll see how it goes. You can see nobody ahead of us has had to make a pit stop just yet. Okay, let's swap back over to the lead car. So that gave us a little bit of separation, and we'll just wait to see how long these other guys take before they make pit stops. Again, you can see they're on hard tires and medium tires. So they're going to run naturally a good bit longer than us. But again, we're trying to learn here and see exactly what we can get by with, what works best, how long the stamina lasts, all sorts of stuff like that. And right now, it's looking pretty good for our number one driver on car 1 to run 2 stints on the soft tires. So he's apparently pretty hard on tires. So he can make 2 stints on soft tires. That's good to know, or at least he's going to come out pretty good, I think. As far as 2 full stints, let's take a quick glance at the weather. Still looks good. Everything looks sunny, at least for the time being. That's at least enough time that it should get us through this stint for both cars. Okay, not bad. Let's swap over to the 2D view, and we'll do a little moving around here. Can't really see this side of the track over here unless we get rid of the standings. Okay, now everybody's starting to come in for pit stops. You can see that we've at least temporarily moved up through the field a little bit. 13th is the first car running in our division, so keep that in mind. So we're not running 15th so much as we are running 3rd right now in our division, which is all that really matters to us. Okay, and all right, this might be a little bit easier on the eyes and on the stomach as opposed to the 3D view, so we'll stick with this for a little while. You guys let me know in the comment section if you just particularly hate this view or what the deal is, and we'll try to go from there. All right, so we got worn tires. We're getting down to, I've actually set that number at 30% to remind me of that. That is adjustable in the options. All right, so, and sure enough, he's made it to the end of the second stint. Now, unfortunately for us, we're going to be a little bit off. Okay, so low stamina. Okay, now it's about time to come into the pit. You can see we have 8 laps left of fuel. So not bad. He made it basically 2 stints with a 99 stamina. Okay, so that's not bad at all. He spent a little over an hour in the car, so that lets me know that with a full 99 stamina, he can go about an hour in the car. You could say a little bit more than that, he could make it. But now we're going to move to Rico, and we're going to see if Rico can do... He's only got 71 stamina, but I really want to change the type of tire, and let's go medium tire. That could let us go about an hour, so I don't think he's going to quite make this. But let's see, it says 48 to 50 laps. Okay, so let's see how much fuel we can put in. All right, 46 and a half looks like all we can put in, so we'll see how long he makes it on that. Okay, and you can see it definitely increases the amount of time we spend in the pits. I think we're good on our parts. Nothing needed there. Okay, so we're good there. Balanced pit stop. All right. And then here shortly, it'll be time for our second car to come in. We'll see how the pit stop goes on car number 1. Everything is so far so good. All right, not bad. So now, next time by, we'll set up our next. So we've got 68 or 89. Which one do we want to go with? Well, I'm going to try to go with, I'm going to go with our 3rd driver here, even though the stamina is a little bit more in our top driver, because we're going to be running this pretty close on the max time. So, in fact, I'll tell you what, let's just go ahead and do that. Because I have to be careful about this, but if I can get about an hour, we're not going to quite get that out of them this time. Let's go ahead and put the medium tires on once again. Everything looks sunny. Fuel options, whoops, forgot to take a chance. 44 to 46, so that if our, yeah, that's pretty good. So, again, I don't think he's going to last that long. 39, okay, we're still pretty good there. This is the one I think we're going to have to fix. Everything else looks good. And because we're not pushing, it's not really running it down all that much. So it's a give and take. You have to figure out what it is that you're trying to optimize. Less time in the pits or faster time on the track. Okay, so we got our pit stop going on. Everything's so far so good. Okay, not bad. You can see the 2 cars are pretty close to each other in proximity, and yes, we're still running at the back of the pack. So with this particular series, we're looking at drivers, because of the spec parts, particularly in the engine, we're going to be looking at the drivers playing a huge role in our outcome of each race. So I think we're going to be in pretty good shape if we can find some much better drivers. That's going to be the key. And it does look like to me we're going to have to use the entire 3-car or 3-driver lineup for each car, at least a little bit in that 3rd driver. At least a little bit. So we're going to try to keep an eye out and see what we've got right now on both the tires and the fuel, because we've got an hour 40 left. So if we can we can get another driver in there for about 35 to 40 minutes at the end of the race, that would be amazing. And we might be able to push a little bit more. Okay, we're in the zone. That fired up means they're in the zone. And performance should increase. You can see that up and down the standings for all the different drivers. Okay, so far so good. So we're coming up on halfway through the race. Not bad. Again, we didn't expect to do very good at all in this race. So it's all about learning. And what I've learned so far is that we need better equipment and better drivers because we are well off the pace. But of course, that's combined with the strategy. Yes, I know you're not attacking, your temperatures are not getting up. I know. I got it. We're trying to learn here. So the game is trying to throw me some subtle hints that I could go faster. Let's look at the condition of the car, particularly the engine. We're at 56% and 50%. Okay, so halfway through the race, we started at 80, we're down to 50, so not bad. Which means that if I pushed it going forward, then that should put us right down around the red zone. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and push that. That shouldn't affect the other parts because I believe that only affects the engine, if I remember correctly. So we lost 30% on the engine. That tells me that if we can get the durability up on the engine, we might be able to run it at this increased rate for an entire race or very close to that. Okay, now we're getting down into the red with one of our drivers. You can see he definitely did not make it a full stint. Okay, so we'll come in. And let's see, who do we want to replace with? We've still got an hour 17. We might actually be able to do that with one driver. Okay, let's see what our tire choice is. 18 to 20 laps. Now, that's really not going to help us. Let's go about 45 minutes roughly on this one, and that would enable me to put in our number one driver, I believe, for the very end of the race and let him go just all out. So 40 to 42 laps would be the max. Let's go ahead and run this up to about 40. Yeah, this isn't going to matter all that much because at the end of the race, we're going to run pretty much all out for the last 20 or 30 minutes whenever we get back in with our number one driver. Okay, so should be good to go there. And let's see how we're doing on our other driver. We're also running out low on stamina there. So we don't have a driver that can go, it would appear, a full stint on medium tires. That's not good. We need that. That just seems odd to me that we don't have a driver that can go, because remember, we haven't been pushing. We've not been pushing our driver, so it just seems a bit odd to me that we don't have a driver that can at least last a full stint on medium tires. Our number one driver on car one with his 99 stamina is going to be the closest we can get. All right, it's time to swap over again. Let's see. Let's go. We'll go our best driver right here. Tire choice. We'll go medium tire. And so we got an hour 10 left. Okay, yeah, that's going to give us about 20 to 30 minutes on the final stint. And we'll run this up to about what we did on the other car. And still 34% here, so we're hanging on with our brakes. And we might just make it without having to do any fixes there. All right, pitch strategy. All that looks good. Make sure I swap out the driver. I forgot to look at our weather, but it looks like we're fine on that, at least for the time being. All right, we'll see how things are looking. So we're using, oh, we had a mistake over here on driver 2. which cost us, wow, 16.5 seconds. That is not going to help us. Alright, so yeah, we're quite a bit behind. And then you can see these guys up at the top. I mean, we're way off the pace there. Okay, so we got some condition issues as we get toward the end of the race. Again, this is to be expected, particularly at the beginning of the year, for the first few races before we have a chance to get the durability up on these. Okay, driver 2 is in the zone, and we're down to our final hour. So I kind of want to push the drivers, but at the same time, I don't think that's going to be a good idea for either the parts or our stamina, because I can only imagine that the stamina for the drivers is going to go down faster the harder I push them. So yeah, we got a lot of work to do on both the car and finding some better drivers. And again, our plan on the drivers will be to find a new #1 driver if possible, but above everything else, we just want to increase the overall proficiency of our drivers. But of course, that's going to take a little bit of time. So I'm kind of liking this view, the 2D view. Kind of makes it a little bit easier on the eyes. Not everything is moving so quick on the screen in front of you. Alright, yep, brakes are starting to get down low. We kind of figured that was coming. So you guys are just going to have to, let's see, yep, 21%, and oh, we're down below 20%. So now anything can happen once you get into the red zone. It could continue going down slowly, or it could go from 19 to 0 very quickly. You just don't know. So again, don't want to push the car for sure at this point, and hopefully we can hang on and make it. Now, I'm not terribly worried about getting into the to the pits right now because we are running last. So we're not going to get any points, and so we're not going to have to really worry about that. It's not going to hurt our points position, that's for sure. So if we break down, it'll just be part of it. So we're down to trying to kind of get around that 30-minute left mark for our #1 driver here to hop back in. Well, okay, we're getting a little bit low on tires. Not terribly low for a medium tire, though. Not bad. But we're starting to run out of stamina here, so let's go ahead and just so we can... Okay, we're going to need to stagger these a little bit, and this driver is already lower. So let's go ahead and get these stops underway with about 33 minutes left. So it'll be around 30 minutes left once we get back going. So there we go, 67 stamina on our third driver. And let's see, do we want to stick with... That's about 30 minutes. That's going to cut it close on tire. So yeah, let's just take the chance. What do we got to lose? Fuel options. Let's go ahead and I forgot what the tire choice is. 26 to 28 laps. There we go. That will give a little bit extra since we're running the engine a little bit harder. And let's see. We really need to fix this. I don't think 20% is going to make it all the way to the end. So we'll go ahead and fix that, but that'll be the only one. Okay. And then we'll let that pit stop happen. And then hopefully this other car, our first car, can hang on until we can get them into the pits without stacking them up. Okay. No errors over here on the pit stop, hopefully. Okay, looks good. And now let's set up our other pit stop. We're going to put the #1 driver back in. Tire choice is going to be, let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Oh, that's right. He is also hard on tires. So we may not make it with this, but we'll go ahead and do it. We really got nothing to lose here. And, oops, wrong button. 28. Okay, that'll be good. That should give us... Everything we need. Part condition. Yes, we're going to have to fix this part for sure. Oh, wow. 21. Man, I just don't know if we can keep going 30 minutes. All right, we're going to take the chance. Why not? We really don't have anything to lose. So let's take the chance and see if this car can make it. Okay, we got our pit stop underway. Let's see how things go. So far, so good. All right, and no errors. So we're off and running. Plenty of stamina from the driver's side of things, such that I would normally want to push with him right now, but the car isn't going to be able to take that. So now we're just sort of having a little fun to see if these brakes are going to make it all the way to the end. So this is giving us a lot of good information that we'll use, and hopefully we'll be able to implement this and be better prepared for our second race. Let's see, driving time. Ooh, is he going to make it? Oh, wow, this is going to be close. Again, we don't really have anything to lose, but if we need to over the last, little bit of the race, I think we're going to be fine. We're just glancing at the time. But I'm glad it let me know that we're getting very close to maximum driving time. All right, let's take a look at the condition. Everything should be good to go on this car. And then, of course, we're looking out for the brakes here to see if they're going to make it. All right, engine condition is starting to get low. It's at 24, but with 15 minutes left, we're going to keep going. Gearbox is also low. All right, now the brakes have entered the red zone. Now we're going to find out what's going to happen as all the parts are in need of some love. But if they can just hang in there about 11 more minutes, then we'll get on out of here. Oh, look, we made up a spot. Not bad at all. We made up a spot. That seems like a victory at this particular point in time. The AI are a bit weird about how they do certain things, their pit stops, and one of the things about their pit stops is when or if they repair their parts. So they don't always repair parts. In fact, I think I'm going to back down a little bit off there. We're pressing our luck with the engine. Oh yes, I know you have spare fuel, I got it. But we're also trying to make the engine last to the end. It looks like we're going to make it. Tires are wearing down, of course. Everything is down to the end, but we're in the last couple of laps. All right, we're not close enough with our second car to pick up any more spots. So we're just hoping to make it home. And time has expired. So now if we can just make it back around and finish it off. And we did. All right, so we made it. Some of our parts were barely hanging on, but we made it with very few repairs, actually. So if we can get some more work done on these parts, then we'll be in good shape. We'll be able to run a full race distance at some point after the first few races without having to do any repairs, hopefully. All right, the game is saving. Let's go ahead and take a look. Again, we did manage to pass a car. That is, hey, we'll take it. So the number of pit stops we had to do was a little bit high. That's as we're learning about the different tires and stamina and all that sort of thing. All right, so we'll come home with a grand total of 1 point. Gotta love that. All right, so driver championship. We'll scroll down and you can see our 3 drivers from car number 1 come home with 1 point. So we'll take that. We scored a point in our first race. And you can now see how far off the pace we are in comparison to the other 5 teams there. All right, and that's going to take us back to the main menu. And with that, we're going to finish the video here. Again, today's video was longer than what a normal video will be, probably about twice as long. But I wanted to make sure we got one race into our first video, just so you can get an idea of how things play out, and then we'll adjust from here. So I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much, and stay tuned for more of our Let's Play series of the Endurance DLC in Motorsport Manager.